Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, my friends. The Evo train just continues on here, as I did have hands-on time with Hunter Nen Impact at Evo 2024. So as you can see here, I was actually on the ARC live stream trying out the game on the Evo show floor, and in the interest of full transparency, this was actually the very first time I ever got to play the game. So on live stream, first time ever playing the game, little bit of pressure. Although after the stream, I did manage to get some more hands-on time on the booths that were in the Arc System Works area. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's a very interesting game. And I'm sure you've seen other players playing it, but yes. Is it like Marvel versus Capcom? The answer is definitively yes. Definitely has a lot of that DNA there. 3-on-3 tag fighter, you call your assists, you have an X Factor-like styled mechanic. There's MVC DNA for sure. As for the Hunter x Hunter franchise, I still haven't watched it yet. I will. I'm just waiting for a release date. We'll get there. Looking forward to seeing what's up. I'm known as a jokester on Twitter, and a Hunter x Hunter community very welcoming in that fact. More than a few death threats. So interested to watch the show eventually, just to see why some people get so militant that when you make a couple jokes, yeah, I don't know. Twitter's Twitter, right? But yeah, before we get into some of my thoughts about the game, a big thanks to Arc System Works for letting me, play the game at all on the live stream. And big ups for Krakatoa joining me so we could form the Canadian connection on stream. And yeah, let's get into it. So I guess one of the first things is I heard, this game, like any modern game, has auto combos. That's how it works, right? I didn't do any auto combos, although now that I'm hearing about it, I sort of wish I did. The auto combo system, from what I've been hearing from Post Evo, actually gives you some pretty saucy combos. I'm sure it's not like the most optimal or whatever in the end, but probably, a lot better than the stuff I was flailing around with. Most stuff I was doing was kind of like ABC launch, ABC special. But oh well, lesson learned, right? Now, just onto the general gameplay. Once again, this stream you're seeing right here, I literally played for the first time ever, and it was immediately easy to pick up and play. If you've ever played any kind of versus game before, you already intrinsically understand this game. Granted, I'm someone who has a lot of fighting game experience, but still, it was just very easy to pick up and play. But the fact that apparently the auto combo system is quite generous as it stands, I think anyone could potentially just pick up this game and play it pretty well. Like, one of the very first things I did, just, trying out the game sight unseen first time was, oh, can I do wave dashing Marvel style? And it took a few seconds to get my fingers used to the concept again, but yeah, it all works like the way you think. A lot of the same rule sets apply. Is there push block? Yes, it's free, it's generous, you can kind of do it whenever you want, very strong. When it comes to things like air dashing, just like say Marvel vs. Capcom, it's character specific. Some characters can air dash, others can't. Some people have non-standard movement, some people can double air dash. It's really all character to character, and that's the way you'd want it, right? Gives you good diversity in the characters and their movesets. Lots of the characters, fit different archetypes. So, the stuff you would expect out of a fighter, it is indeed all here. I say this every time, but just in case you are somehow unaware, this is being made by aiding the team who made Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So when it comes to making a versus game, they know a thing or two about a thing or two. So at EVO, they did show, the big cinematic intro. They showed lots of the characters. The build we played did have only a certain limited amount of characters. Out of the gate, because I'm a cheap parody of myself, I knew Uvogin was going to be my character. He's a big guy with sideburns. I'm a big guy with sideburns. It's just how it's going to be. You can see here the live rooflemonger reaction once I started doing some of the big boy moves. And okay, yes, this is absolutely my kind of character. So love at first sight, it was always going to work out that way. Then there was Bisky, who many people told me is probably going to be a character I would like. And sure enough, it's the other character that turns into a giant character, and yeah, I know it's incredibly shallow of me, I play the big characters, but it's liberating, okay? I don't gotta worry, oh, you're the big character, I play you, simple as that. It can be freeing when a game is new that you don't stress over which characters you're gonna play. And I'll talk a bit more about Bisky in a moment here, but yeah, as far as I can tell, once you turn big, it does cost meter, it's seemingly permanent, so she's effectively two characters in one. And the last character given the limited roster, I just picked just because they looked interesting. Meruem, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. The gentleman that, for lack of a more elegant term, just looks like Imperfect Cell. Once again, I will watch the show. Just give me a release date so I can structure it, right? But yeah, so I guess I'll start with him just gameplay-wise. One, this super is like by far the best super of everything that I tried. Its startup is near instant, it's full screen, it's basically an amazing reaction check. You do anything, I catch you, I got you. It's awesome. His range also, especially with the tail, gives his jabs a lot more range than a lot of the other characters. A lot of the characters are, in Dragon Ball FighterZ parlance, they're rats. They're very short, many moves can go over their heads, and thus, their limbs are not the longest. So that's really good for him anyways. That was very easy to kind of just, outspace people. If you're a fan of Darkstalkers, he's got that John Talbane in him, in that he has basically a big charge that he can do multiple follow-ups with that can also go in multiple directions. So after the first one, which has to be a bit more linear, then after that, you have basically 8-way control over what you're going to do. So you can dash forward, dash backwards, dash forward, go down, up, like whatever you want, right? So it seemed a little bit oppressive, honestly. Especially combined with various assist calls, and assists in the game are very strong as well because everyone just has all their assists out of the gate. You don't pick and choose assist. Everyone can just do whatever they can whenever they can. So general power in this game is, I would say, quite high. Other things about the character took me a while to kind of fully grasp. He has a stance, I guess, for lack of a better term, where he turns purple, and I just didn't understand immediately, but then I didn't appreciate it was a stance, right? You could do moves from it. So he has like a million punches, like 100 hand slap from it, and he can cover multiple angles depending on the buttons you press. And I'm sure that's like very important for combo structure, all that. He's got a lot to him. He's definitely more complex. Now talking about Bisky. So Bisky okay, I don't mean this in like the dismissive or anything way, but she just feels bad until you turn big. Like, everything whiffs. Her range has to be the worst I've ever seen in a fighting game. Even stuff like, being a versatile game, there's a universal launcher, right? Her universal launcher, if you do anything more than just like a light, you will whiff. It is crazy. Like, you can get an example of this right here, right? This is like the most basic B&B I can do, right? And whiff. I'm like almost touching the enemy and it's still a whiff. In comparison, Big Bisky, her hitboxes are effed up. Look at that. That's not fair. So I almost wonder if it's meant to be like a Dark Phoenix situation where Big Bisky, my limited time with Big Bisky seems pretty good. Seems pretty all right. But when you're the smaller version of the character, you're kind of useless. So she exists for you to burn meter on so you can get the transformation going on. Just a thought, just a guess, but from my most initial impression, that's what I'm kind of getting. Big Bisky, really strong. Little Bisky feels like half a character. Because even the other smaller characters here, like Killua, he's got like big yo-yo normals, lightning, like he's got range at least. Little Bisky, not so much. And I guess the last of the characters I played, Uvogin, which is my main event for sure. Uvogin is a big armored jerk, and I love it. It would seem that the majority of his important specials have super armor, and they can trade very favorably. I don't have, optimal bread and butter combos or nothing, but you can trade, wall bounce, and follow up from there. When it comes to mobility, he can't air dash, and I guess you wouldn't expect him to either, right? But he doesn't feel super slow, maybe not as fast as some of the other characters, but mobility doesn't seem too curtailed. His jumping normals, like jumping heavy, are extra gigantic. A lot of times where we're both in the air, I go for jump heavy, I tend to win the majority of the trades, so I felt really good about that. He doesn't feel too handicapped by the big character status, especially with my time with the character anyways. His normals and specials just feel way bigger than everyone else's, so it was a good feeling. Basically, the whole big character experience, the whole big character feel, it was definitely very much there. Of the characters I got to play anyways, I definitely had the most fun with him, and he felt the most intuitive of everybody. And just for some general other thoughts, Leorio, I believe that's this character's name, he definitely seems like the chip god. The one super just immediately tracks, does so much chip damage. There was a lot of matches I played where I was just trying to do anything to escape out of it, and other than going into overgear where you're immune to chip. It was difficult. He seems like a match closer kind of character. And not my kind of character necessarily, but I was very impressed by everything I saw out of him. Now, besides the character stuff, one thing I got a feeling for from the game was they gave us, sticks to play with. I played on a provided arcade stick personally. It feels like it's a game that might be designed with pad first in mind. Like, there's a fair amount of buttons here: light, medium, heavy, sure. Nen Impact button, which is like sort of like your universal armored and also your launcher button. The arts button, which is sort of like your special move button, and you have 2 assists. Also rush if you want to do auto combos, and you do get to set button combinations, which is excellent. However, my time I didn't set any button combinations, so certain things like if you want to do supers, and this is an easy input game, right? You have to do your Nen Impact button and also a various attack button and direction, right? And on the default layout, it just felt a little difficult to move my hands around constantly with the amount of buttons versus if I was playing on pad with the shoulder buttons, it probably would have felt a bit easier. Maybe if I had time to do, you know, smarter button binding, it would have felt better. But like, once again, this is just initial thoughts, right? Out of the gate, sight unseen, I feel most people would probably have a best time with this game if they played specifically on pad. Otherwise, the fact, you know, there's 3 main attack buttons, you have your Nen Impact button, which is super critical, you have your special move button, then all the assists, right? You might have to spend some time setting up a layout on like arcade stick or leverless that would work best for you. I know that's all sort of nitpicky, but it stuck out to me, so I just want to give you the observations as I had them. But all in all, I found it a very pleasant experience. It was very easy just to slip into right away. If you have any experience in this style of versus style of game, be it Marvel or even like Dragon Ball FighterZ or whatever, it'll be like putting on an old comfortable pair of shoes. Like, the skill sets will transfer over almost immediately. For me, now that I played it, like, I definitely like it. I definitely have fun. I enjoyed the characters I got to try. I am looking forward to seeing the more, you know, greater roster, because we only had a handful of characters to play around with. And looking forward to watching the show. Once we have that release date, I'll get around to watching the show. As an anime expert, I'll make sure to find a way to share my opinions with y'all at large. By all accounts, it seems like it's a pretty good show, pretty good franchise. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting more hands-on time with it. They did say originally that it's going to be a 2024 release date, but now we're, you know, over halfway through the year. We still don't have that release date, so I don't know. It might slip to 2025. My understanding, don't take this as law, but my understanding is they got some more money coming in. So hopefully they use that to, you know, improve the game even further, because I know there is some complaints about the graphics and all that. I'm one of those guys, I like gameplay more than graphics, but people are going to be people, I guess. That all said, though, my friends, that is the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.